Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's Mr.BuyTheDip back here with another video. I want to talk to y'all about AMD. Alright, AMD, NVIDIA, these two stocks are no joke, but let's talk specifically about AMD and just the outlook of the stock the next few months, what their new chip is doing, how they're competing with NVIDIA, and let's talk numbers, alright? So first things first, I want y'all to look at this gap up today. Breakout after breakout. When a stock is, on these many breakouts, for example, today, I was going to watch the price, buy at a dip, but then I saw a breakout right here, another breakout right here. So that was a good buy. All right. So when we look at these type of breakouts, it is very, very, we're very sure that we're in a bullish market. Okay. The stock is roaring right now. If we look at it monthly, we're up 30%. I'm up 25%. And this takes patience. So my next big goal is honestly earnings. Okay, their earnings are going to be July. They said July 29th. Now they pushed it to like August 5th. So it's going to be in a couple weeks. And they have resumed selling their new chips to China. And these new chips are basically staying up with NVIDIA. When we talk about reasons, let's talk about their AI chips, data centers, and gaming. As y'all know, their major consoles play a role in PlayStation, Xbox, and they had a partnership with Microsoft. We can probably go back a couple weeks, but AMD did get a partnership with Microsoft. So what does that mean on the gaming side? They're on that side. They're dominating, They're close to dominating that side. They're doing well on that side. Are their numbers good? They just beat last earnings prior to this, so they're good on earnings. That's 2 check marks. Okay, good on earnings from last report. They got a business partnership with Microsoft. On top of that, they are getting ready to resume the new chips they just made to China, which is going to be over a $700 million deal, and they're going to talk about charges and stuff like that. Now, when we talk about competing directly with NVIDIA in the AI space, AMD comes to my head after NVIDIA. NVIDIA's Blackwell chips compared to NVIDIA's MI308 AI chips, they are very, very, very competitive. Now, NVIDIA may have the edge, but AMD's, again, a very, very good competitor, and I think the market knows that, and the market knows the power of AMD. And the stock's numbers, explains that itself. When I'm in at the average cost of 124, I want y'all to realize that we were all the way down to 90s at one point. So that boom from like 90, 95, 86, all the way to 137, and now currently at 155.61, some people have made over thousands of dollars. Okay, it just matters when you enter the stock. I entered the stock fairly early. All right, I want y'all to see where I entered the stock. So around December is when I entered the stock, and I was just averaging down. I didn't buy around this time at all because I was just holding. I was waiting for a rally back up. I saw that rally back up. Boom, 112. I bought $60. By far the best purchase I've ever made. All right, and then since then I've just been adding a little chump change here and there to increase my position in the stock. And I want to grow this to 300, and I want to exit this with at least $85 to $90 made. I'm currently at $68 made, up 25%. I like the numbers on this. But there is potential of this going to 175 to 170. If I get to, if this stock goes to 160, a lot of you guys who were, a lot of people that were in under 120, under 115, around that area, consider taking profits. I don't blame you, right? Get out of it. Enjoy. What a run. Okay. Try to re-enter back at a dip. As y'all can see, if you would have just entered this week at 143, 144, took that to 155, that is good money. So that's specifically about price points. When we mix price points with fundamental news, for example, what the business is doing just depends on news. It doesn't depend on price point. Whatever news comes out, the price, you're going to see that in the price. When we talk about NVIDIA and AMD chips being neck to neck, USA and China cooling things off, we see that in the stock market itself. S&P 500 around 620s, AMD around 155s, and we haven't seen this price since last year. We're talking last year around October. So we are where we need to be in terms of price points, but is the business doing well? 100% correct. The business is also doing well. All right. So the gaming industry, data center growth is there. So processors are gaining serious traction in high performance computing. So cloud markets like Amazon, Microsoft, Meta use AMD chips. I want y'all to realize what that means. If you work in the tech space or if you don't work in the tech space, this is not rocket science. AMD is basically a third-party provider to these companies, to Amazon, Microsoft, so forth, right? These are the big companies that they're providing their chips to. They're providing a service, all right? Let me know if that makes sense down in the comments. And they are doing a great job of providing that service. So that is one of the reasons why I think the stock is, it's exactly how I want it, right? I've been holding this for six months and I've got 25% back. I want to end this at least at 45% back return, because I know it can go there. I know I can increase my position even more. If we get a down week of 149, I would actually be more happy than us just going to 170 right away. Let's talk about consistent revenue growth, okay? Strong gross margins. They have increasing free cash flow. What does that mean? They have a lot of money to play around with. I like to call it play money, right? So, for example, you get paid and you pay all your bills and you got $12,000 left compared to somebody else who got $2,000 left. When the person with $2,000 want to go out, go on a trip, they can't do as much as the person with $12,000, correct? So when we're talking about AMD, they got decent free cash flow. If you compare it to NVIDIA, though, NVIDIA has way more, but AMD has good free cash flow. They have money they can play around with, money they can invest back in their business. That is the key goal I want y'all to realize. This right here, the stock dropping from 170 all the way down to 190s, 101. This is a big correction. This is people realizing we need to wait and see what their business outlook is. Like, what can they produce? And they have produced. They have shown their new chip and saying, oh, we belong with NVIDIA. That's basically what AMD said. Oh, we can do this as well. I made a lot of videos on AMD. If y'all could scroll back a few months ago, I was telling y'all to buy at these levels. I'm buying at these levels because I'm waiting until they drop their new chips, because I know it will not disappoint. This is a billion-dollar company that has so much money to invest back into their business. They will definitely not disappoint, and that's exactly what happened. As soon as things cool down with China, there we go. Okay. Now, when we talk about 2025, they have recovered well from 2022 and 2023. Okay, the chip slowdown and is showing profit acceleration. So overall, right, you're gonna be in for a very, very volatile ride. So when you look at AMD, I want you to realize that yeah, you can make money very, very quick. 25%. I've already beat the S&P 500 for the year. Right, the average return of the S&P 500 is 8%. I've already beat that. The goal now is to meet my profit-taking mark, which I believe around earnings in 2 weeks, this stock can be above 160. Because look at this, in the matter of days, in the matter of a couple of days, we're up all the way to 155, 157. If we have earnings that show that, we can double down and match what we're doing with our business partnerships with the numbers, that's going to be very important. And their last earnings, they did beat earnings, and the stock was a little, it was a little volatile, but they did well on last earnings. As simple as that. So I think they can do that again. Earnings doesn't really affect AMD that much, but when it comes to news articles like these and USA China being back cool again, it is going to affect it. Trust me. I feel like 160 is sooner or later, but my profit, I think 160, 165 is a great zone for profit taking, or just rinsing, right? Taking some of that money out and entering back in, or even just adding more money at breakouts. When we talk about price points, under 142 or 140s, anything in 140s is a buy, right? If I want to throw in $40 right now, $60 right now, I would throw that in around 144, 145, 147. These are all good buying points. So just keep that in mind. And this July 29th was basically signifying earnings. This earnings is now August 5th. I did my research. That's what it says. You want to double check that, go ahead. But it went from July 29, July 30th. They were trying to pick out a day for earnings. It's currently August 5th. Okay. And I want y'all to look at this breakout flag pattern. And a lot of you guys that are watching this may not be, you may not be a stock market guru and you don't sit in front of the charts for days and hours, that's fine. Okay, I want you to just look at what certain analysts have set out in mind. They're looking at overhead area of $215 for the stock, which is, it sounds a little crazy, but I want you to realize, if we go on the yearly mark, this stock has went all the way to 200 before. So the highest we went is around 200 before. And could we go back there? I think we can, but we really, really need the China and USA bickering to stop at all. Because if we have one more article, one more slash quote unquote war, that potential war that happens, this is gonna go way back down to 130s again, and that just ruins the momentum. Because all they're doing is teasing us, right? Nobody's gonna go to war. I'll tell you that right now. So that's just the concept of this, is realizing when you're in a market where Trump is president, you know your technical analysis is doing exactly what it needs to. I'm looking at my numbers. I'm looking at when to add money. All that is working perfectly fine. But Trump says one thing, boom, there goes all the analysis, all the research I've put in, because we have uncertainty now. So as long as uncertainty doesn't get in our way, we can keep this, keep the boat going. We can keep sailing. We can keep going to 160, 165, 170, 175. Let's take some profit then, okay? Or let's just close it out, take all of it. I'm out of here. I made what I wanted to make, right? Keep that in mind. Now, they see a support level of 115. Remember what I said, guys. If you hit 160, $160, 165, when this stock goes to 160, those guys that are in for average cost of 115, consider taking profit. Because you are at a golden spot. Under 115, bro, you are at a golden spot. Consider taking profits at those levels. I'm going to be a little more, I'm going to stretch this a little bit more out and try to go for 165, 170, just because my average cost is all the way up to 124. But that is also because I added more money. So just keep that in mind. I want y'all to, keep these price points in your head. The stock is doing absolutely great right now. It's doing phenomenal. We don't need any crazy news to come out to knock this back down. It's a long time coming. I've been holding this for 5 to 6 months. This is what we waited for, and we get to live this now because we put in the work back here in December, January. Then kept adding money, kept holding this out here more. You get into a spot where you feel like you're waiting for the right time to add money into a stock, and this was probably not the right time to add money, but I feel like this gave me time to learn and watch the price points and watch how volatile the stock is. So now if we get knocked down to 120, 125, I know that it's just market uncertainty, because the business is great itself.